हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रियै जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Nobody wants to turn their cameras on? Hare Krishna. Okay, Kirti Mataji, thank you. So we Hare Krishna. Okay, we start with devotional service or Bhakti Yoga, the last chapter of the middle third of Bhagavad Gita. Let's pay our obeisances to SRI RADHA GOVINDA before we start. So, what is the link between chapter 11 and chapter 12? You have questions in your thingy booklet, right? The practice question where you have to define the link between different chapters. So, in chapter 11, Krishna is explaining his universal form. He's actually showing his universal form. But at the end, Arjun says, "Thank you so much, but I'm attached to your personal two-handed form. Can you bring that back?" Chapter 12 is about devotional service, where Arjun's attachment to two-handed form. Arjun is attached to two-handed form of Krishna, but wants to clarify his position that whether his attachment to two-handed form of Krishna is something which is correct or incorrect, or valid or invalid. After hearing and seeing Lord's inestimable impersonal opulences, Arjun again wants to hear about devotional service. Okay, so to clarify his position as a devotee who works for Krishna as opposed to a jnani who renounces work, and also to clarify his position as being attached to the personal form of Krishna as superior to the universal form or the unmanifested Brahman. Okay, basically, Arjun is attached to what? Impersonal or personal feature of Krishna? What is Arjun attached to?
It's personal feature, Mataji.
Personal feature.
Yeah, so he's actually making his situation secure. That is my attachment something which is correct or not, or is your impersonal feature superior? Even though he knows it, but he's asking for us. So this is one of the smallest chapter. I think 15 chapter also has 20 verses. 12 chapter also has 20 verses. But there's so much to it. There's so much. So we'll try to do first 5 verses. Bhakti over impersonalism. And then middle part of the chapter, Krishna says that start from where you can start to come to me. Not everybody can start from bhakti platform, but he says take a step. So different steps which devotees can take. And then towards the end, he tells that, but this is what actually endears me a lot, like qualities that endear one to Krishna. So Arjun begins the chapter by saying this verse. Arjun Uvacha evam satata yukta ye bhakta swam parupashate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga viktamaha. Arjun inquired, which is considered to be more perfect, those who are properly engaged in your devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Which is perfect, more perfect? Okay, impersonal Brahman or devotional service? Now, what is the reason for asking this question? So, 2 classes of transcendentalists, Prabhupada explains, both are transcendentalists, that's the bottom line. Okay. What are the 2 classes of transcendentalists that Prabhupada explains? Jaldi bolo.
Personalist and impersonalist, Mataji.
Personalists and impersonalists. The personalists are who engage themselves with all energy in service of the Supreme Lord. Impersonalists engage in meditation on impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Okay, now Prabhupada explains in this purport that actually in every chapter, attachment to personal form of God or Lord is the conclusion. Every chapter, that's the conclusion. And then he gives references, right? He gives references. Okay, second chapter, mein Krishna is saying living entity, spiritual spark, absolute truth is a spiritual whole. 6th chapter में towards the end he says Bhakti Yoga is the best of all yogis. 7th chapter में he's saying living entities part and parcel of the whole, recommends one to transfer his full attention to the whole. 8th chapter, anyone who thinks of Krishna at the time of death at once goes to spiritual sky to the abode of the Supreme Lord. So only basically way to have association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is through devotional service. So it's an action item. There's a movement there. But in impersonal Gyan, there is no movement. You can just sit down and listen to the knowledge, but you don't move with that knowledge. Okay, you actually cut your attachments to the world. You actually become detached, but where you putting your movement is what is important. So our acharyas, our sampradaya teaches us to move to Krishna, to take a step to Krishna, towards Krishna. But other processes are not teaching us how to move towards that. They teach us how to get away from other things. So it's only partially correct or it's only partially beneficial. So he's asking that which is correct, which is more beneficial or which is more perfect, personalism or impersonalism. This particular verse is directed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, okay, or Paramatma or Bhagwan feature, right? This or Brahman feature. This particular verse is talking about Krishna in a way. The question is directed to Krishna. I'll tell you why I'm asking this question when we come to other verses. Shri Bhagwanuvacha Maya Aveshya Manoye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaste Me Yuktatmata Mataha. The blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. So Krishna, in a way, has actually finished the chapter. He actually said that the question is there and the answer is there. But now, this is like if you actually ever write a story or a chapter or Srimad Bhagavatam, when Prabhupada writes Srimad Bhagavatam, doesn't he give like a summary of the chapter in the beginning of the chapter, and then the chapter starts verse by verse by verse? Do you read Srimad Bhagavatam like that? Do you read Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you know what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you know what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you know there's a book called Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yes, Mataji.
You open that book, do you see how Prabhupada writes?
Yes.
So Prabhupada writes the summary of the chapter in the beginning of the chapter, and then he gives most of the chapters, and then he gives verse by verse by verse. This verse I take it as like a summary. Summarization ho gaya ke personal feature is the one who's worshipping the personal feature is the best by me, most perfect. But then he's gonna elaborate on it. He's gonna give like why impersonal feature is not so perfect, why personal feature makes it better, both for God and for living entity. Worshipping personal feature of Krishna is best for both of us, me and Krishna, both of us are at peace. Okay, so what is this verse saying? This verse is saying that those engaged in devotional service are the most perfect. Why most perfect? Because they can fix their mind on my personal form and worship me with great and transcendental faith and always engage in worshipping me. We have a bodily conception of life because we have been engaged in the body for a time immemorial. We just can't like let it go just by wanting to let it go. There is a process of letting it go. Right? It's like if you have ever seen somebody who is in a rehab for drug addiction. Can you just tell them stop taking drugs or stop doing this and then that's enough? Is that enough? Huh?
No, Mataji.
There's a
No,
whole
Mataji.
process. There's like, I think there's like a 10 step or something process. They have to like follow the steps to actually give up. But we're not gonna die if we don't drink alcohol. Are we gonna actually we'll die if we drink it too much? And we're not gonna die if we don't drink it. So we really don't need it. We're not born drinking alcohol or wanting to look around in the world. A child is not looking for alcohol, is it? I'm giving example. Like that, the soul is not like gonna disappear if it doesn't get a body. But we actually can't actually get to that core of our spiritual existence without going through a process. So we cannot bypass the process. That's mind. That's mind telling. I give example how my Guru Maharaj explains what's mind. So one time he was asked, what is mind? How do you know this is coming from mind and not from intelligence? So he said, okay, the mind. So mind gives you vague ideas. Okay, how the example is, let's say that you are driving, okay, and you're going somewhere, and then you're running late, and there's so much, and then you get stuck in a jam, traffic jam. There are vehicles everywhere, front, back, sides. You want to get out because you have to be there somewhere, but then you get this voice in your head. Bang the vehicle in front of you to make your way through. Yeah, do you get that voice? Bang it. Por doisko. Yes. You see, my Guru Maharaj is saying it, it's true. Yes, sir.
In India, we get yes.
That's mind. That's nonsense, senseless idea. That's mind. That's the voice of mind. And then he said, okay, so now you go trekking. Okay, you go trekking on the top of a hill. It's a nice weather, nice breeze. You go trekking on the top and you reach the top of the hill and then you look down from the top of the hill. So there is a voice that comes in the head, jump. And there comes a jump. So, and then the intelligence, that's mind. Nonsensical idea. The intelligence kicks in and says, if you're gonna jump, you may die. If you don't die, you're gonna break your spine, break your bone. What are you doing? Don't jump. So a person of sane intelligence will not jump. Person of disordered mental disorders may actually jump because it's nonsense from there, no sense. That's mind. So we cannot get out of the bodily conception just by wanting to get out. Okay, from today onwards, I'm not going to be in a bodily conception, but let me see how many clothes I have in my closet. Well, let me see what kind of shoes I'm gonna wear. Let me see what I'm gonna eat. I really feel like eating jalebi today. You see, then it's not coordinating with what we are thinking and how we are living. Krishna consciousness is the only way which can link our inside life and outside life together. There's no other process. We have a conception of who we are inside, and we have a life which is outside, and then do you get that? It's very scientifically explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that you see something and you want to do something else, but you do something else or you say something else. Let's say, now Minister will give this example that somebody knocks on your door, you open the door, and the person who's there, you don't want to meet them. Your mind, inside your thought is like, why have you come? This is my day off. I wanted to, do so many other things. Why have you come to take time? But then what we say is, okay, please come. I was looking forward to see you. Yeah, do we say that?
Yes,
Say
Mataji.
something. Things are, so Srimad Bhagavatam explains this duality is because of the bodily conception. But Krishna consciousness is the only process we are able to link the two worlds. And that's when the influence of the subtle body in the material way disappears. You see, that's called being thoroughly honest, right? Thoroughly honest. And that's when we can relish Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna says this himself. What is that verse where he says, Shanvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhava, Tadvag Visargo, Janataga Viplavo. You know this verse, right? Yasmin Pratishloka Bhaddavadapi. Namani Anantasya Yashwantikani Shanvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhava. So person who are thoroughly honest can hear, can relish, can recite Srimad Bhagavatam. Thoroughly honest. So what is this thoroughly honest? Now next time when you have a conception of, oh, I'm so honest, just evaluate, am I thoroughly honest or not, according to the eyes of the Shastras. So what I'm trying to say is Krishna is emphasizing that personal feature, attachment to his personal feature is best, and it is for our good, because we can't just get out of the material conception of life just by wanting to get out. We have to have a process. Attachment to personal feature of Krishna under the supervision of Acharya, spiritual master of Parampara, helps us. So actions in Krishna consciousness, they're not material activities. It's not like And when I'm cooking for Krishna, I'm like, it's same as cooking for like catering without Krishna consciousness. Because it is done for Krishna, it gets spiritualized. Our pure devotee is in full samadhi because of his constant engagement. He chants, hears, cooks, shops, washes temple or dishes, do not waste even a single moment. Do you get that? I want to hear from you your personal experience. You may not have a realization, but experience. Do you get that? Like you are working in the temple for 12 hours. You don't get tired. You work in your office for 3 hours. You're like, when am I going to get home? Give me some examples from your life. Okay, I'm going to take names. Andrea Mataji, your name is first. Hello. Help me.
Yeah, Mataji, it happens. You're busy all day and then you feel that you're tired, you can't do the chanting, but the chanting happens. Once you sit for chanting, you feel, a surge of energy.
Mm. Okay, so you get that in your chanting. Okay.
Yes, Mataji. However tired I may be during the day.
Nice. Nikhil Prabhu, your name is next. Then Ambika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. First I wanted to add one thing here. This samadhi that we talk about in this shloka. This is not the sitting samadhi. It's the active samadhi.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Nice.
something that I remember while studying earlier. That we are always engaged there. And regarding your point, yes, Mataji, when we were planning and working for the events like Janmashtami or Rath Yatra with the group.
Yes.
We don't know how time flies. We don't know how much, as a group we achieve. In the office, if I work in the group, we get tired, we get headaches, but here we are in what we say, we are in the flow. We get in the flow, and that is very, very fulfilling.
Very nice. See, Ambika Mataji. And then Kirti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I feel when we are cooking for Krishna, making Krishna prasadam, we don't feel tired. And also, even if during the day I'm busy and I cannot complete my chanting, I make sure that before going to bed, at least I complete that 16 rounds of chanting, however tired I may be.
Very nice. Yeah. When we are cooking for Krishna, it's called bhoga. When it is offered already, it's called prasadam. So yeah. Very nice. Thank you. Kirti Mataji, what is your experience? You're one of
Mataji, Hare
the...
Krishna. So this was basically
Yes.
something related to Nikhil Prabhuji, what he just said. So during our temple inauguration, Mataji, ISKCON Mangalore, so I wasn't personally there, but I was doing online seva. So usually I sleep pretty early, Mataji. But when this inauguration was going on, I was thankfully, I got the opportunity to do the seva, and I used to sleep at around 1 o'clock, sometimes 2 a.m. in the morning, and again wake up at 6 o'clock. Usually, if I do that, Mataji, I have a migraine problem and I get a headache. But during the inauguration time, I don't know how it happened, Mataji, and it's not only mine. I mean, mine was online, it was different. But I heard devotees who were literally there, Mataji, in the temple, and they said they got to sleep only for 2 hours. And, sleep at 2, wake up at 4 again for Mangalarti. And they said, we don't know where we got that energy from. And, it was like we were as if we were in Vaikunta. So that was a beautiful experience, Mataji. So, yeah. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Linit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, recently, about like 3 weeks ago, I got the opportunity to drive Namnishta Prabhu in Bangalore because he had visited Bangalore. So when I got to drive him, the same Bangalore traffic and the same usual traffic jams didn't seem, which usually seem very annoying and irritable. It was, I mean, they didn't matter at all. And the next day when I take the same roads, the same annoyance is back again. But when Namnishta Prabhu was there, it was like completely blissful, Mataji. So that I was very lucky to get that opportunity.
You felt that. Very nice. Thank you. Rupa Mataji and then Ramya Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Mataji, whenever we are doing anything for the temple, recently, like in our neighborhood, like 20-25 of us got together to celebrate Krishna Janmashtami. So, like those 3 to 4 days went so nice, and then it was I really miss those days. But once we are back home and we are going through our regular routine and all, it's very different, Mataji. Working for other things are very different. But those 5 days, we were so engaged, so much engaged. We were practicing kirtans and trying to get all the items, like, to decorate the, somebody got the cradle, somebody did so many things. They got flowers, and we were doing so many activities. It was so nice. So, how time flies during those times, can't even imagine that. So blissful.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Ramya Mataji. Did she leave the class? Whenever I ask her something, she always leaves the class.
No,
Rasamai.
Mataji, I
Yes,
am.
ma'am.
My name is Ramya and also Rasmai Mataji. So actually,
Okay.
when I
Same here.
joined class, I changed my name because
Okay. I want to hear from you.
I just joined now, Mataji. I don't know the context.
The context is I want to know if you can share an experience in your life in Krishna consciousness where you may be doing more hours of service, but we don't feel tired, but then we do something other than Krishna consciousness and it drains us.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Mataji. Actually, there are many instances, Mataji, for me, by mercy of Krishna and my family members. I get to serve many Maharajas while GBC meetings in Tirupati, Mataji. It is very wonderful experience, Mataji. I get to cook for some Maharajas like Bhakti Sadhu Maharaj, and it was very nice, Mataji. No matter how much, it doesn't feel tired at all. And I'm very blessed to be in association of devotees.
Very nice. Okay, thank you. Sharanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Like where I'm staying in Dubai, so here when the Jagannath Rath Yatra during that time and all, like I first time I went to that place, so I felt so blessed, and how the time went I didn't know. And even for the new year, if you are from like Tirupati, like Tirupati ISKCON is conducting Kalyana Utsava on that day on first of every year. So during that time, with all the devotees kirtan and it's a nice experience, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
You're from Dubai. I used to
Yeah.
have friends like devotees from Dubai join when I was giving 18-day classes. They would tell me that in Dubai, in Kartik, they have Damodar Aarti every evening in one person's house. Like, is it still like that?
Yes, Mataji. Like Friday itself, I went to one Mataji's house here. Sachi Mataji Ramakrishna Prabhu. They are conducting. They are from here like more than 25 to 30 years. They are giving Krishna conscious to each one of us. So in their house, they did Mataji. And every
Just
day,
like,
one house it's there.
yeah, it's like pre-booked. You
Yeah.
start to get appointments at the end. So nice. Okay, Shiva Srinivas Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji. Shiva Srinivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it is the mercy of superiors here in Hyderabad, like where we have an opportunity to stay in temple. So for the boys during my MTech, so it was like it was whole engagement like from morning Mangalarti, so all the morning programs and evening like where I was given the opportunity to serve the superiors. It was a daily engagement for serving them, like prasadam. So daily I used to serve prasadam to the superiors, and which led me to serve Maharaj during Radha Yatra. So Radha Yatra would be a great. It will be like a feast for us. So where we'll be serving senior Vaishnavas exclusively, like only senior Vaishnavas, and others will be serving others. But it was an opportunity given by superiors here, where it used to be like a memory for us whole year with their interactions, the loving exchanges we have with them. Small things like what they like, how they take, and the remnants they offer us with their permission we used to have.
Mm.
And other temple, when I was like other temple inaugurations used to happen. So we used to go there. So we used to render service there. Like it is like a beautiful memory where we relish and which drive us to move forward, or which drive me to move forward in Krishna consciousness by experiencing those loving exchanges, their interactions most importantly. So their encouragement. Like I never felt like it is tiresome or something. And when we discuss those things, like whenever we have such interactions, we discuss among devotees, and it will intensify that what do you say, that inspiration and encouragement.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. Sudarshan Rao Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I got some opportunities in a temple Mataji during Radhastami or Janmashtami. At the time, we used to prepare juices and all things for Abhishekam. So at that time, we used to stand for 2-3 hours and we continuously do that work. So at that time, even though we stand for long duration of time, we never felt any tiredness. But we never felt any tiredness. And also, we do some of these sevas like Lord's utensils cleaning. So at the time also we have to stand for a lot of time, but at the time also we never felt any tiredness. At the same time, whenever we have discussion about Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or Srila Prabhupada discussions, so it is very soothing and very pleasant and joyful to hear and know about it. Our mind as well as heart will be relishing at the time. But when it comes to the materialistic point of view, whenever we had meetings with chairmen and vice presidents, at that time, whatever they speak, so whatever they are instructing, it feels like so ignorant talks are going on. So it feels like somehow or other how we feel so boring, and after that meeting, at least come out of that talks, it takes 1 hour. uh, Headache, continuous headache happens. What kind of discussion happened, nonsense happened, that kind of things. That kind of thought process go on. So in that way, these Krishna consciousness association as well as these sevas and these things actually gives a lot of blissfulness and happiness. But when it comes to the materialistic talks or the discussions, feels so irritating. Hare
Very
Krishna
nice.
Mataji.
What do you work as, Sudarshan Rao Prabhu, if I may ask? I have an idea,
Yes,
but I just...
yes, Mataji.
What do you work as?
Mataji?
What is your job, if I may ask?
Yeah, I am working as associate professor in Kale University, Mataji, in Hyderabad.
What subject?
I teach machine learning, deep learning, as well
Okay.
as, yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I think we all have that. I'll give you a reference of Sri Prabhupada's lecture if all of you can relish. It's first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 18. Prabhupada explains Vashikriyate. The word explains Vashikriyate, and he explains Vashikriyate means hypnotizes. So Krishna hypnotizes his devotees. So I would highly encourage to listen to that lecture 1.5.18. And be convinced in ourselves, because if we get convinced that I need to follow this process and there is no other way, then other processes will lose their charm, for to say. Otherwise, if we are not fully convinced, that's why Krishna is spending time on it, right? And we are spending time. We're not convinced, and we may get attractive. Actually, so many people get attracted to the knowledge aspect or get attracted to the eternal aspect, but then don't want to be so much into the personal aspect, even when after we become devotees. So that was the summary verse. Okay, second verse. Now from third verse onwards, Krishna starts to elaborate. So this is the first thing which is elaborating, and it's a very in-depth verse. I'm going to ask, what is your understanding of this verse after we read the verse? Ye tve aksharam anirdeshyam avyaktam parupashate Sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam saniyamendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mam eva sarvabhuta hite rataha. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses. Okay, so unmanifested, unedrishyam or aksharam, unmanifested. Unedrishyam is lies beyond the perception of the senses. The all-pervading, avyaktam. Paripasate, the all-pervading, inconceivable. Sarvatra gam avchintayam is all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed, and immovable. The impersonal conception of the absolute truth by controlling the various senses and being fully disposed to everyone. Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. What is this verse talking about?
Impersonal features.
Of who?
Like impersonal. Of the Lord.
Okay, anyone else? What is this verse talking about?
Mataji, it's talking about how the impersonalists try to achieve Krishna.
The impersonal feature of Krishna. Okay, I'm just gonna bring out the meanings. Okay, I've opened Bhagavad Gita as it is. So Aksharam Prabhupada is explaining that which is beyond the perception of the senses. Anirdeshayam means indefinite. Avyaktam means unmanifested. Parupasate means completely engaged in worshipping. Sarvatra Gam means all-pervading. Achintayam means inconceivable. Kutastham means unchanging. Achalam means immovable. Dhruvam means fixed. Saniyamya means controlling. Indra Gramam means all the senses. Sarvatra, everywhere, Samabhuta, equally disposed. And so on and so forth. So, you see there is a repetition. There is a repetition. Like, for example, Aksharam means which is beyond the perception of the senses. And Avyaktam also means unmanifested. Beyond the perception of the senses, unmanifested. I'm just giving you food for thought, okay? And then there's again a repetition, unmanifested, and then sarvatra gam means all-pervading. And the next word, achintyam, also means inconceivable, all-pervading. So which is all-pervading, you can't conceive that, right? Can't they contain it in a thing? It's inconceivable. Also, the repetition is achalam means immovable and dhruvam means fixed. So there is a repetition. So if Krishna is talking about his impersonal feature in this verse, why is there a repetition? What is the need for repeating? At least I thought that when I read this verse. And then it was not. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Or am I becoming a more Gyani here? You understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
So, okay, I'll show you this. Those who worship unmanifested will also reach Krishna eventually and surrender. So these are the qualities: unmanifested, beyond sense perception, all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, immovable. Okay, so that's the process of how to realize. So I was not fully convinced that this is an explanation of the absolute truth and the impersonal feature. And interestingly, I'm right. So, Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhupada in Gita Bhushan, I have this reference. You don't need to have this book, but I have this book, explains in his commentary that Krishna in this particular verse is talking about Atma, not Brahman feature. It's talking about Atma. These are the qualities of the Atma. So, those who try to realize, how do you go back? Those who try to realize, he's saying those who do not worship me and instead attempt realization of their Atma will also attain me after a long time and after great suffering. They are inferior to the devotees just mentioned. This is explained in 3 verses. Those who first worship only their Atma, own Atma, Aksharam, undergo a great deal of suffering, so on and so forth. So this particular verse is actually explaining those devotees who are trying to realize their own self as Atma. which is like a impersonalism or Jnana Yoga, right? So these are the qualities of Atma, that I am trying to realize myself as Aksharam, as Anirdeshyam, as Avyaktam, as Parupasate, Sarvagatam, Achintayam, Kutastham. So Kutastham means what? What does Kutastham mean? Because Krishna explains the quality of soul as Kutastha.
Hidden,
What is it?
hidden,
Huh? Say again.
hidden, Mataji.
Unchanging.
Hidden? Are you saying hidden?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anya Mataji, what are you saying?
Unchanging.
Unchanging. The Prabhupada is explaining it as unchanging, which does not change. You know how our body changes? Different age, different days, different things. So like that, the soul does not change. So unchanging. Kuthastham, achalam, dhruvam. So in this particular verse, interestingly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is talking about those devotees who try to cultivate the knowledge of Atma. Okay. So how do they cultivate? And these are the endpoints that they understand themselves as this. How do they do that? By controlling various senses. By being equally disposed to everyone, by engaging in welfare for all. Difficult for any common man, much penance involved, but before ultimate realization of full surrender takes place. Okay, so this is a Gyan Yogi. This is a yogi which is trying to understand oneself, not Krishna yet. And it is a very troublesome path. According to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Did you understand? I am happy to share this purport. If anybody wants, you write to me, of Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhupada, where he's explaining each and every quality. He's elaborating each and every quality. Achalam, Dhruvam, Kutastham of Atma, and how this devotee is trying to understand oneself as Atma. But this is
Hare
not so
Krishna.
much about.
Mataji, I have a doubt.
Hmm.
So here, this is a Jnana Yogi. The shloka speaks about Jnana Yogi.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Right? They're trying to cultivate the knowledge
But
of.
then a Jnana Yogi is not going to fully control all his senses.
That's the end point. Why will you? That's the end
Okay.
point.
So then what is the difference between Jnana Yogi and Ashtang Yogi?
Ashtanga Yogi is trying to meditate on Paramatma feature, no, not impersonal feature.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Paramatma feature. So there's some more personalism attached to it. But here there is no personalism. It's like unmanifested, beyond sense perception. It's not like Krishna's
Impersonal. Yes.
Paramatma feature has 4 arms. He's carrying these weapons in his hands. He's dressed up like this. Like explanation of Sri Lakshmi Vishnu is
Yes.
personal, but this is impersonal, and this is not impersonal Brahman feature of Krishna, but rather impersonal feature of Atma. Okay, this is like
Yes.
So Krishna is saying, okay, you can realize yourself as soul and begin from there, but it's going to be very troublesome. I'll tell you one more verse from Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labhate param. So Krishna says Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So one who has realized oneself as Brahman, he's not saying Bhagwan Bhuta. He's not saying one who has realized the Bhagwan feature. One who has realized oneself as Brahman. Oneself as Brahman. Not Krishna as Brahman. Is Prasannatma. Na sochati na kankshati. Does not lament anything, does not get happy at anything. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. Sees everyone is equal. Mad bhakti labhate param. But ultimately achieves my bhakti. So there are different aspects of discussing that verse, but that verse is also talking about a person who has realized itself as Atma and has now ultimately will become a devotee. So this is kind of in the similar lines, making sense.
Yes,
Looks like a
Mataji.
very, very easy thing, but it is not. There's a lot of layers attached. Okay, other thing is, how can Brahma Bhuta be a Prasannatma? This was one question raised to my Guru Maharaj one time. Because in Brahman feature, what are the 2 characteristics realized in Brahman feature of God?
All pervading.
Sat, okay. And then there's Sat,
Sat
there's
and
Chit,
Chit.
there's
Sat and Chit,
Anand.
Mataji.
Huh?
Sat and Chit, eternity and knowledge.
Eternity and knowledge, but there is no happiness there, right? Ananda nahi hai, bliss nahi hai. So how is
No
Krishna
bliss.
saying Brahmabhuta Prasannatma? Oh my God, everybody gets completely silent. So
Yeah,
how is
because they
Krishna saying?
realize now that I am not the body, I am the soul. So
Hmm.
they got nothing to do with the miseries of the material world, or So there's a kind of a gap. Where anything happens, they are not going to rejoice or lament because they
Okay,
know they are
okay.
not the body.
But they're happy. They're rejoicing something.
No,
Yeah.
they will not rejoice. They will not rejoice. No, they will be at that level that whatever is happening with the body is temporary.
Okay.
See, they know the
Okay.
temporary feature of the material world.
Okay. I think we're digressing a little bit, but okay. That's good. Thank you. Anyone else has himmat to talk? Anvya Mataji is bold. At least she talks her mind out and she doesn't fear judgment. I like her boldness. Everyone else is like, Prem Kishore is gonna scold
Mataji,
us.
can you repeat the question, Mataji?
The question is Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. In Brahma realization, there is Sat potency, there is Chit potency, but there is no Anand potency. So how is Krishna saying Brahmabhuta Prasannatma? Okay.
The soul has the same qualities of the super soul. Like we have all the qualities of Krishna. So Prasannatma, since he's always joyful, you know, at that stage, the devotee is joyful.
But we say in Brahma realization there is only Sat potency and Chit potency. Yes or no? There's Anand potency to hai nahi, then how is Prasannatma? So anyway, if you want to know the answer, you have to ask me. Tell me. Otherwise, I'll not tell. I'll keep moving.
Please, Mataji, we
Yes,
want
Mataji, please tell.
Please
Because
tell me,
this
Mataji.
class doesn't talk. Class is most silent thing. So you see, in mode of goodness, when Krishna explains chapter 14, chapter 17, somewhere in chapter 18 too, that in mode of goodness, there is a sense of happiness. Like that it comes by virtue. It's not transcendental happiness, but there is a sense of happiness. That is why mode of goodness is binding, because a person feels satisfied and happy. So in that Brahma realization, realizing that I'm actually not the body, I have nothing to do with the body, I'm in the body, brings about some sort of happiness. It brings about some sort of happiness, but that's not transcendental happiness. Okay, he's not saying Anandatma, he's saying Prasannatma is happy. So it's not so transcendental, there's not so much transcendental feature attached to it. So that is why it doesn't last. And we want to be happy always. Anybody who's planning the day, what are the reasons to be sad about today? Yeah.
No, Mataji.
I can't
Never.
wait to sit and cry. Yeah, anybody?
No,
If you
Mataji.
we have to talk, this is not normal. Okay, so klesho adhikaras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham deva dehavadbhir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So he's repeated it 2 times. Klesho adhikaras and then dukkham. So it's like it's emphasizing that this is very, very difficult, very troublesome and always difficult. It is saying the same thing. What is very troublesome? Because the mind is attached to the mind is hankering for some form. Mind is hankering for some relationship exchange. But in Brahman feature, what are you going to do with the light? Yeah, you can have a relationship with the light. Yeah, in your kitchen, there is a light, tube light or bulb or some sort of source of light. You can say, I have a relationship with you. Can you say that?
No, Mataji.
No, madam. No, Mataji.
But you have a relationship. This is like not to say, but when your vessels go missing, do you look for them? Where's my vessel? Where's my vessel?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Or that's a very that's not a very good example actually. But what I'm trying to say is that we're always looking for some form, some sort of relationship exchange, because that's how Krishna has kept us in the spiritual world also. So he has declared that this is very troublesome. So two groups of transcendentalists. Path of impersonalism is troublesome and very difficult. But ultimately they bring to the same goal, but it takes a long time for a personalist. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Where does he say? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyante Vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So bahunam janmanam ante, after many births and many deaths, jnanvan mam prapadyante, one who is situated in knowledge surrenders unto me. What does he surrender? Vasudeva sarvam iti. Krishna is all in all. Vasudeva is all in all. But sa mahatma sudurlabha, but that mahatma is very rare. So he's confirming that Gyanvan Mam Prapadyante, one who is situated in knowledge, does surrender unto me. But when Bahunam Janmanamante, after many births and many deaths. And that too, only a very rare person does that. Bhakti yogis, those persons who are in full Krishna consciousness and engaged in devotional service of the Lord. Okay. And Jnanis or Jnana yogis are those who follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord. It's a troublesome path. So these are the differences between personalism and impersonalism. Or impersonalist meditate on formless, meditate on something which is beyond the senses, and understand the Vedic language, which is very difficult to understand, and long practice to make it makes it difficult, and it is troublesome because there is no relationship, and it also depends on our own endeavor. That's the most dangerous thing. Bhakti, we are helped, we are supported. But in impersonalism, we are on our own. So depending on how good I can meditate, how good of a posture I can sit, how good I can control my breathing, my senses. But Krishna consciousness, how good can you eat Krishna prasadam? How good can you, go out and preach or read or elaborate? Or this month we are relishing Radha Damodar, Yashoda Damodar pastime, right? We're relishing it, we're tasting it so much. In our Bhagavatam classes, every morning, like we're relishing from this Sri Radha Damodar Janani. Each and every emotion is caught. Each and every emotion is caught and elaborated. The discussion is happening whether Mother Yashoda leaving Krishna, is it an appropriate action or an inappropriate action on account of Mother Yashoda? Krishna crying, Krishna getting angry or upset, is it good? Is it not or not good? Krishna's tears, are they fake or are they not fake? Mother Yashoda's jewelry, how is that orchestrating Mother Yashoda's service to Krishna when she's churning yogurt into butter? So every emotion is captured. Everything is so like full of life. You're going so slow, like every emotion is captured, and it is so relishing to the heart. Any one of you listening to all those things when we discuss? Think Kirti Mataji, you come.
Actually, one or two I attended. I think one I attended, and rest I go through your recordings, Mataji. They are there in the playlist.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is not like I'm not like trying to look for my own thing, but I'm just saying this is so relishing.
Yes.
So it's so like each and every emotion is caught between the mother and the son, right? And in person, what emotion are you gonna catch? What are you gonna discuss? That the light was light and the light was bright or light was dull. What are you going to say? So Krishna consciousness is so nice because we get fully satisfied to the core. I get spellbound when I read this book, Sri Radha Damodar Janani. Do you get spellbound when you read this book? Are you reading the book?
You have to buy, Mataji, and then the conversation between the birds. Sura
I
and
know, Sura and Sutta.
Very explained. It was so good.
Sari and Sutta.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, they're like, even the
Mataji,
birds are so intelligent that they are actually discussing What is Krishna gonna do next, or is Krishna's? They're giving their viewpoint. And another bird from Mathura comes and says something, and then the birds from Vrajadham get angry and think that who do you think Krishna is? We'll tell you who Krishna is. So it is so relishing. Then why are we taking something which is so difficult? And it's not a very intelligent choice. When we make choices in our life, we weigh everything, right? We weigh what's going to make us achieve what we want in a shortest and most profitable manner. Huh? Yes or no? Or you want to go for the longest, most hard? Yeah, like I want to retire. So I'm already starting at 10 years. I'm like, and it feels so good to think about that. It feels like already making arrangements. That what are the activities?
Mataji, what is the name of the book?
You don't know Sri Damodar Janani. Let me show you.
Okay. Who has written it?
This one. You don't come
Okay.
for classes? This Sri Damodar Janani.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Mataji, on the book, it says part 4 or something, Mataji, volume 4.
Yeah,
On top
Krishna
of
and
it.
Vrindavan series by Shivaram Swami. So it says Lord Damodar's mother, Sri Damodar Janani. And this is by Shivaram Swami. Okay, I think I have given enough food for thought today. Okay, this is a little more. Brahman and Bhagavan. I'll share this table. You know all this. Just a matter of how to write it in an exam. There are some things which overlap. Nirgun, Sagun, inconceivable, possesses inconceivable potencies, all pervading, unchanging, cannot perceive any opulence because of lack of activity. You see that number 5 is where we can't relish Brahman feature because we cannot have any activity or relationship. May realize Sat and knowledge aspect of his original nature, which is a partial realization, but Bhagwan realization includes everything. I think I'll stop here and I'll summarize and I'll listen to any questions you have because it was a little heavy. Right, so Arjun is asking question to Krishna that which mode of worship is superior, the one who is attached to your personal feature or the one who is attached to your impersonal feature. Krishna summarizes the whole thing by saying that one who is attached to my personal feature in pure devotional service is the highest, most perfect according to me. And then he elaborates. Now he's elaborating. And the thing that he elaborates in verse 3 and 4 is one who is trying to understand oneself or realize oneself as Atma Tattva by various processes. There's a various processes, right? Controlling various senses, equally disposed to everyone, person engaged in welfare of all. So all these things, but he gives his verdict. It's a troublesome process because we are looking for mellows. We are looking for rasa. We don't really get that, or when we get that, it doesn't last that long. So it ultimately leaves us miserable. But if somebody is attached to personal feature of Krishna, there are so many exchanges, and all of us had a chance to share where we feel most energized, even if we are overworking in terms of putting number of hours or whatever, making an effort, right? We feel more energized because that's the quality of the soul, to be with Krishna. And when we go together, we actually relish it even more rather than going alone. Okay? For example, if you're doing Damodar Arati alone in your house, and just imagine, just for the sake of imagining, just imagine that you are in Vrindavan and with hundreds of devotees, with hundreds of lamps going at the same time, with loud roaring of Damodar Ashtakam. Where will you feel more nourished, more nurtured, more happy? Where will you be? You may say alone, it's fine, but where will you feel?
Vrindavan.
Right, with all these devotees chanting and showing Diya to Radha Damodar or Yashoda Damodar at the same time. The feeling itself gives so much energy, right? Rather than sitting alone in the room. That is also fine if that's all one can do. That's fine. Krishna will accept anything. But we feel more nurtured when we are together in this process of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a Supreme Person, not in person. Okay, if you want this Baldev Vidya Bhushan Prabhupada's commentary, you write to me and I'll send you the photo. Questions, reflections, realizations, corrections. I think we can go offline. Okay.